Hello, hello. We are live. This is Chef Frank from Eat Like a Vegan Chef. I help people struggling with weight to adopt a whole food, plant-based diet to feel better, lose weight, and get more done than ever before. Today's topic is the basics of a whole food, plant-based diet, the benefits of a whole food, plant-based diet, and I have a little cooking presentation today, later on, where I cook a complete meal in less than 30 minutes. I hope you join me today. And before I get going, I would like to tell you a little story from my family. My mom was, before I get there, I have to tell you the reason why I created Eat Like a Vegan Chef is because of the health history of my family. My mom got sick from breast cancer and she survived it, but then she got sick from Alzheimer's, where she eventually died from. So all my uncles and aunts, many of them got sick of high blood pressure, high cholesterol, MS, you name it, they had it. That gives me the question, who's next? So that prompted me to look into all kind of diets. Maybe I was a little paranoid, but I think it helped me well. It served me well because I tried so many diets, from paleo to Atkins, bulletproof diet, you name it, I tried it. And none of them really worked. They work for some people. They do work in a short term, that definitely, but it didn't give me the satisfaction over the long term. Actually, one of the diets, it raised my cholesterol level very, very high. So I stopped it right away. And it had only one option, going plant-based. And this is where many people are faced with. They say, "Ooh, there's nothing else, so I have to go plant-based." And that should be really your first option. Plant-based is the way to go. So I did. I researched a plant-based diet until I found a whole food plant-based diet, and it made such a difference to me. So what I basically, I went from, I was a vegetarian first. I had mentioned it many times before, for about 5 or 6 years. And then I transitioned to a whole food plant-based diet, and I never felt better, ever. It was such a big difference. So that is the reason why I thought, okay, why don't I share my story? And that's why I created Eat Like a Vegan Chef. And I hope I can touch as many people as possible to help them adopting a whole food plant-based diet, because it's just the right way to go. Our health crisis is the result of what we eat, especially the Western diet. The Western diet is one of the worst diets we can do. They're focused on refined foods and processed foods, and less on fruit and vegetables. So that being said, we spend $1 out of every $3 on healthcare costs on diabetes. That is absolutely that's unsustainable. So in my opinion, we have to change how we eat. But you know what? I don't want to lecture you. I just want to inspire. So that's why I'm promoting a whole food plant-based diet. And let's get to it. So a whole food plant-based diet, the basics is whole. It is based on whole foods and less on refined and processed foods. So when you go to the supermarket, you go to the produce section, and that should be your home. Right there, all your fruits and vegetables are all whole. There's nothing processed or refined. Those foods you can eat to your heart's content. There's no calorie counting. It's just, that's what your 90% or 80% of your diet consist of. So what can you eat? We focus on whole grains, potatoes, legumes, vegetables, green leafy vegetables, fruits, and that's basically it. So these foods you can eat to your heart's content. As I said before, there's no calorie counting. And I know it's a little bit tricky in the beginning because you don't know what to cook, how to cook, but that will come with time. Once, like today, I have a little cooking demonstration and I'll show you one dish, and you could create so many other dishes from that dish. So there is literally, the sky's the limit what you can cook. You just have to be a little bit creative. But I will point you into the right direction. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask them. I will try to answer them later. I see Joelle is here. Thank you so much for coming in. Thank you, Donna. Thank you for joining. One question. Any one of you is already a vegan or is eating a whole food plant-based diet? If you do, you can type yes in your comment box. If you don't, just press no, type no. That gives me an idea how many of you are already eating a whole food plant-based diet and maybe who wants to transition. So these are the foods we can eat. The foods that you shouldn't be eating or should eat sparingly are nuts, avocados, coconuts, and added sweeteners and dried fruit. So these are the foods you shouldn't be eating a whole lot of. You can add them to your foods, but sparingly. Foods that you should avoid are, of course, animal foods, dairy, meats, chicken, any foods that derive from an animal, any fats, that includes oils, and sugars, and artificial sweeteners, sodas. Those things you should really leave out because they do not benefit you whatsoever. Okay, thank you so much for answering me. Yes. Wow, we have a lot of pros here. Excellent. Okay, great. So the benefits of a whole food plant-based diet are just unbelievable. When I transitioned to a whole food plant-based diet, I lost 24 pounds, and I wasn't really fat, but my wife said I lost too much pound. But that's what it is. It's because you don't eat as much fat as you used to, or you eat a lot less fat. You just lose. And as I mentioned before, if you eat a high-fat, low-carb diet, then you flood your blood system, your bloodstream with fats first. And your fats are being absorbed by your cells first. So if you reverse that and you eat a high-carb, low-fat diet, then you put a lot more carbs into your system, meaning you spread a lot of glucose into your bloodstream, and this is being absorbed by your cells. So if you eat a lot of fat, it's like whoever's there first, and that's the problem with when you eat a high-fat diet. So it's very, very beneficial for losing weight, but not only for that. You will feel much better. You feel lighter. You reverse the risk of getting chronic diseases. You can actually treat diabetes. You can actually reverse diabetes too. I'm not talking about diabetes 1. Diabetes 1 you can control with a whole food plant-based diet, but you cannot reverse it. That's impossible. But so that's the key. And there's so many other benefits you have with a whole food plant-based diet. Again, I have to tell you, I'm not a doctor. I cannot legally make a claim that a whole food plant-based diet will cure you or whatever. That's not the case, but it has great benefits. And if you decide to do a whole food plant-based diet, look for your physician and have him approve that and talk to him about it. That's very important. Good. So as I said, I'm going to have a little plant-based, a little cooking demonstration today. Today I will be cooking a lentil stew with eggplant and mushrooms and spinach. What I haven't mentioned earlier on, and what is, in my opinion, is very important, your plate should look like 1/3 of starchy vegetables, 1/3 of green leafy vegetables, and 1/3 of vegetables. So, that's sort of rule of thumb, but it's not, you don't have to adhere to it every day. If you, for instance, if you're an athlete or if you're very active, you need to increase your carbs, meaning you have to have more starches on your plate. And you don't have to worry that you gain weight. You will not, because remember, you don't have the fat. So I, for instance, sometimes my plate is loaded with 80% of starches and then 10-10, sometimes 50. I think a good measure is 50% starchy vegetables, 25 green leafy vegetables, 25 regular vegetables. That's for your main meal. For in the morning, it can be very different. Depending if you like bread, if you like vegetables, it all depends. If you want to lose weight, I wouldn't suggest that you eat any kind of refined foods like, excuse me, like bread or, excuse me, let me get my water. And so you should eat a bowl of vegetables for in the morning. And then once you get hungry, you eat your starches. Starches, let's say sweet potatoes, and then you can add all the other vegetables to it. And the same in the night. If you want to lose weight, you don't want to have too many starchy vegetables on your plate, because you wouldn't be able to sleep and you wouldn't be able to digest that food overnight. So you want to keep it as, with vegetables, leafy vegetables and regular vegetables, and leave out the starchy vegetables or just a little bit. Again, if you're an athlete, you want to put starchy vegetables on every dish. So that's because you have the power in those vegetables, you have the protein in there, you have the nutrients in there. Okay. So now I'm coming to my little cooking demonstration. I'm going to show you how I can cook a complete meal in less than 30 minutes. What I did, I just chopped the onions and the mushrooms and the eggplants. I didn't do anything else. So you will see how quick you can cook. That gives you an idea how fast you can cook a meal. This is especially important when you batch cook. And excuse me, especially when you transition to a whole food plant-based diet, you want to be prepared. So on a Saturday or Sunday, when that's your off days, you want to cook for at least 3-4 days, maybe even 5 or 6 days. You cook, let's say, 2 starchy dishes and 2 non-starchy dishes, and then 2 green leafy vegetable dishes, and you can freeze them. You can, each of them you can pack in a container. For instance, you put, as I said, 1/3 starchy vegetables, 1/3 leafy vegetables, and 1/3 vegetables. Put them in a container, freeze it. If you need it, you take it out. And all these are different foods you can mix and match. So it's pretty simple. That's how you'll be prepared for the week. The last thing what you want is you come home and you don't have any food ready for you, and you're in your transition period, and you don't want to go out and then be tempted by a grilled chicken. So you don't want that. So have your food ready, batch cook it. And what I do today is sort of a batch cooking. It's 2 dishes, but you could easily cook 3 or 4 more dishes, and it maybe takes you 2 hours, and you have food for the entire week ready. Okay, let me set up my camera here, and since I don't have a cameraman here, I gotta do it myself. Okay. So, fire on. And of course, as usual, I cook without oil, all the dishes. And first I'm going to cook the lentils, which I also refer as dal. It is not a dal per se, but it's very similar to dal. Dal is an Indian dish cooked with yellow peas, and this is very similar to it. You can eat it as a soup, or you can eat it as a main dish, like a starch. Okay, going to add the onions to it. So you can see no oil in there. Going to add some garlic as well. Okay, can you see? Can you guys see what I'm doing? Good, okay. I turn the heat to full, to high heat, and I stir the onions a little bit, and you can hear already they are getting hot. I do have my water here on the side. I do cook only with water. I don't cook with vegetable broth. And you can definitely cook with vegetable broth, but you want to look out for low sodium vegetable broth. Very important, because you don't want to oversalt your dishes. Okay. Okay, in this case, I will add my spices in the beginning. About half a teaspoon of turmeric. Half a teaspoon of curry. And I usually would add cumin to it, but I don't have any cumin here today. So I'm gonna roast these spices in the pan. That will help increase the flavor. I have my lentils here. As you can see, these lentils are the very small ones. These are not the regular lentils, because the regular lentils would cook at least 45 minutes. So these cook very, very fast. I always use these if you're in a rush. So I'm going to add a little water to it. My onions are almost translucent. And once the water is almost evaporated, I'll add my lentils to it. See, the pan is still nice and clean, nothing burns, as long as you add a little bit of liquid to it. I usually add a quarter cup, I'm sorry, of water to it every time it gets too dry. However, with the lentils, you want to use, for half a bag, which is about half a pound, you want to add about 3 cups of water. Okay. These lentils were earlier washed and rinsed. I'm going to stir this so I can get the flavors into those lentils. And I'm going to add my water to it. And this is about 3 cups. Stir it. I add a little bit of salt to it. If you're salt-free, you just don't eat any salt. You don't add any salt. A little bit of black pepper. Okay. We can put our pot over it, or the lid over it, and let it cook. In the meanwhile, we're going to cook our vegetable stew, the eggplant. Again, I'm going to add my onions to it, garlic. As with everything I cook, almost everything, I add onions to it. Onions and garlic, depending on the dish. Onions is just, that's how I was trained in culinary school. Onions just bring in the basics of any type of food. They do add a certain amount of sweetness to a food, so it's always great to add them to your food. Remember when your grandma cooked, or your mom, and your food tasted really, really sweet? That's what the onions do. If you cook the onions long enough, the food will taste sweet. Okay. We periodically check this here. I'm going to leave this slightly open. Okay. I'll keep stirring these here. Okay, let me check. Are there any questions you might have? I think now is a good time to ask them. Do red lentils cook faster? Yes, absolutely. Red lentils cook a lot faster. Okay. I always use filtered water. You can use bottled water, or if your water from your faucet is fine, then you can use that. But I try to use good water. I think it's very important to use good water with your cooking. Okay, I'm going to check here. This is a little bit too high. I'll turn it to medium. This is on high, and as soon as this water is evaporating, I'm going to switch. So you can see what I'm doing. It's to medium. Okay. Now I'm going to add my eggplant to it, because they do cook a little longer. I have already cut them. You can cut them in bigger pieces if you prefer them bigger. I cut them relatively small so I can cook faster. You always check here. Looking good. I think I need to add water to it. So when I was in culinary school, one of the things my chef always taught me is whenever you add one type of food, you want to add the seasoning to it. In this case, it's salt. Since we don't cook with too much salt, we don't leave this. We leave the salt out, but you can add spices like turmeric, curry, cumin, black pepper. The sky's the limit of what kind of spices you can use. I would always use some type of spices like oregano because they have a lot of antioxidants. And you will see those eggplants gonna cook to nothing. Check the lentils. See, we need some more water here. Okay, so I'm going to add just a little bit of salt to it. And I'm going to add a little bit of curry to it because just a little, just to enhance the flavor. Maybe a quarter teaspoon max. Just to, because we are going to eat those two together, they will complement each other. Okay, so when you see the eggplant is cooking down, you want to add the next vegetable. In this case, we add the mushroom. And we need some water to it. The benefit of adding one food after the other is you're adding layers of flavor to it. I mean, you can put everything at once in the pot and just let it cook like in a slow cooker. You can do that, that's fine. But in this case, we're cooking on top of the stove in a pan. You cook them one by one. You will add one flavor at a time. If you cook this in a slow cooker, you put everything in there, but you leave it in there for 6 to 8 hours or 5 hours. So that means the flavors will come through as well, the same as it is here. That's why I'm adding them one by one. I'm gonna check the water is evaporating quickly. Any more? Okay. I'm going to wait until the water disappears. Then I'll put my peppers to it and add a little water again. So every time you reduce the liquid in your pan, you will also intensify the flavor. So you don't want to burn this flavor. So every time it's almost evaporated, you want to add a little bit of liquid to it again. That makes me feel vegetables great. Great. I love it too. Those types of pasta. I would say the question is, does those types of pasta and pots cook faster than the regular pot? I don't think they cook faster, but they cook more evenly. The benefit of a thicker pan is basically it just distributes the heat much better. Okay. It's getting there. I'm going to increase the heat just a little bit. Now I'm going to add I don't know if you can hear it, but the liquid is almost finished. So I'm going to add my peppers to it. When you cook, you want to cook like the rainbow. Um, every vegetable has different nutrients, and the color represents the antioxidants. So the red is basically your antioxidant in this vegetable. So if you have, you can add yellow peppers, um, orange peppers. You can add green zucchini, or it doesn't really matter. Or red, I mean not red beets in this dish, but vegetables with incredible colors have also incredible antioxidants. That's the power of different kind of foods, especially colorful food. That's why it's always recommended to eat, um, as I said, like the rainbow. It will enhance your nutritional values in your dish. I'm going to add just a little bit of salt here, just a little. I want to check my lentils. And even though they're red lentils, they always turn out yellow. It's funny, right? But in the end, they really do look like yellow peas. I'm going to just taste them, how they're doing. Almost done. Just a little bit of salt to it. You can hear the liquid is evaporated. It's now sticking to the ground, to the pan. Going to add a little bit more water to it. Filter. And of course, if you like your food more spicy, add pepper flakes to it or hot sauce. It definitely enhances your food. An experience with herbs. Parsley, for instance, or cilantro are great additions to food. Add them to the end. Once the food is almost done, then you should add fresh herbs so you don't kill the nutrients in there. Okay. And you see, the eggplants are almost cooked. The peppers are about to cook. And how many minutes was this? Maybe 10, 12 minutes. Yes, hi Beverly. Yes, I can post the recipe. Yeah, definitely. No worries. So I know many of you cook one dish at a time, and that's how many people cook. But you know, as a chef, I have to cook many dishes at the same time. And usually, I would cook two more pans, but that's too much to follow. So it's um, I like to have my food ready in no time. Basically, I cook as many dishes as I can. Um, but for you, you get an idea how fast you can cook, and you just have to watch it. You have to just keep an eye on every pan what you're cooking, because you don't want to burn it. But if you can cook like this, you can cook many dishes at the same time, and in no time you have your entire week cooked. That's how I usually cook for myself and my family. Um, it's it's just a matter of getting used to it. Okay, so everything is cooked nicely. Now I'm going to add my green leafy vegetables. Going to add some more black pepper. Again, spices are your friends. Use spices a lot. And it enhances your flavor of your dishes. Okay, the lentils are almost done. Not really. A little bit of salt, some black pepper. Okay, I'm going to turn this down to medium to low, and I'm going to just let it sit like this, simmer. This is ready. Okay. Of course, very important to taste. If I have everything. You can taste the layers of the vegetables. I taste the spinach, the peppers, the mushrooms, the garlic. It's fantastic. Every layer of flavor is in here. So this is ready. I don't want to overcook this. My lentils almost ready. Mix this up here. Oops. Okay, and as you can see, the pan is still clean. Nothing is burned. Even the side is pretty good. Okay. Good. You want to have some velvety in your lentils, but it's you know what, everyone is different. I like my lentils cooked until they become velvety, but some people like to have them, a little whole. So it's really up to you how you would like them. I am going to finish cooking them. As you can see, can you see that? You can. You bring the camera closer. I don't know if you can see this, the consistency. You still see the lentils, but they're beginning to disintegrate. Okay, that's how I like them. So now I'm gonna serve this dish. You can put it in a soup cup or in a pasta bowl would be great. Okay. And then the vegetables I just add on top. Okay, this. And then on top, I'm going to add some broccoli sprouts. Broccoli sprouts have 10 times the antioxidants of broccoli. Very, very healthy. So this concluded my cooking demonstration. I hope you liked it. Let me put my camera back here. Okay, I hope you enjoyed this little cooking demonstration. If you have any questions, please ask them now. If you were using vegetable broth instead of water, would you recommend using it the entire time or using water occasionally also? I would definitely mix and match because vegetable broth is too salty. You're adding too much salt to it. Then again, it's everyone is different. Salt is not healthy for you. I do cook with salt, but I try to keep it at a limit. Great. Okay, so I don't know if you can see this. Here's the dish again. We're going to eat this very soon. To recap everything, a whole food plant-based diet consists of obviously whole foods. Once you go into the produce aisle, that's your kingdom. Choose whatever you want and cook something from it. Obviously, you want to go into the aisle where you find legumes, whether they're dry or cans. It doesn't matter. You can use either one. You can use either one. Just make sure if you use canned, you want to make sure they're low sodium or no sodium, and organic will be even better. Also with cans, look out that they're BPA free. That is, I would look out for that. Then for the foods you don't want to eat too much is nuts, avocados, seeds, and nut butters. You don't want to eat them too much because they're laden with fat, and you can eat them small amounts. That's fine. But if you want to lose weight, you want to let go of that. Foods not to eat, obviously, animal foods, oil, fats. You shouldn't implement those foods. Okay. Do you have any questions for me? Obviously, I'm always posting new recipes on YouTube and Facebook. On YouTube, I post twice a week, Tuesdays and Fridays, beside my live stream on Thursdays, which is posted both on YouTube and Facebook. One thing I didn't mention is very, very important. You might want to look for seasonal products because, first of all, they are sustainable. You don't want to look for produce that have traveled 4,000 miles on a truck. First of all, these ingredients or these foods are not nutritional anymore. If something has been on a truck for let's say on a truck for a few days, and then it's in a warehouse, then it comes to the supermarket, you don't have any nutritional value anymore. You think you have, but you don't. So you want to make sure that you get your, let's say strawberries or whatever it is, you get them from your local farmer. Very important. You can even create, or you can even develop some relationships with farmers. You can go to your local farmers market and see what they have to offer. Most of the time, they are organic. They have organic products. and it's worthwhile to go there. I know it's a different road. It's probably extra time of yours, but it's worthwhile to check them out. And maybe you can even develop a relationship to them and see what they have to offer throughout the year. Organic, if you have the means, I would buy organic. That said, you want to look at the Dirty Dozen. The Dirty Dozen is posted on the internet. There's a Dirty Dozen and the Good and the Clean Dozen. So you want to make sure that you eat the foods which are clean. The Dirty Dozen includes all foods. Let's say, for instance, apples. I think apples are number one on the Dirty Dozen. You have celery, spinach is pretty high up there. They are full of pesticides. So you want to make sure that you're aware of which foods have a lot of pesticides. You want to reduce those in your diet. So if you eat them organic, if you buy them organic, you avoid getting all these pesticides. Okay. Great. Okay. Any more questions? Then thank you so much for joining me today. And I hope to see you next week, 1 o'clock, Thursday. And I'm glad you were able to join me. Thank you so much. Stay well, stay healthy, and I'll see you next week.